Usually, you know I never double back. And you're probably somewhere happy getting your life on track. But when something's good, it's good, baby, that's a fact. Let's talk about hardening off your seedlings real quick. So now I'm going through a process called the hardening off my seedling process. This is pretty much where you gradually introduce your seedlings to the climate outside. So because they were born inside and their leaves are tender and they're still weak pretty much. They're not used to the harsh rays of the sun. They're not used to being blown to the left and the right by the breeze. They're not used to the rain. They're not used to none of that yet. So because they're babies, you have to gradually introduce them to the different conditions outside. Each day you want to move them closer and closer to coming outside to the garden. So what I did was when I moved them, there's gnats out here, excuse me. When I moved them from underneath the grow light and inside off the heating mat, I started putting them on my dining room table, which is close to my storm doors. And this allowed them to get light for the day. I left them there for a few days and then I moved them on the back porch, which is covered, away from the sun. And then they stayed there for a couple of days. And then I moved them to the edge of my back porch, which gets the morning sun, and they got about an hour of the morning sun, and I did that for a few days, and then I moved them to the back porch, and then I moved them outside. So now they're outside and they're being exposed to the sun for a few hours for the day. Once I see that they can handle this, then I can start moving them towards the garden. But even now, yesterday was their first time that they was outside for I think a maximum of like 4 or 5 hours. I gave them the afternoon sun, and then this morning they got the morning sun. But I notice now that the leaves are withered, and they look like they're thirsty. That they look like they're not doing so good. I mean, they still look good, but they don't look as plump as they did when I put them out here yesterday. So at least I know that for even the first day, they're not going to do good yet. They're still getting used to it. So I'll say maybe another 2 to 3 days, or maybe through the week. For the rest of this week, I'll probably watch them and expose them more and more to the sun. But now I'm going to move them back underneath the shade, and I'm going to give them a good drink of water once the soil cools down a little bit so they're not burnt. And then I'm going to give them a nice drink of water. I'm going to water them from the top because they need to be cooled off, right? And then tomorrow I'm going to do it again. I'm going to move them outside and I'm going to see if they can stay out here a little bit longer. And then hopefully, we'll say, let's push for Saturday morning. Hopefully by Saturday morning I could put them out in the garden into their permanent spots or into their containers, and I'm going to see exactly how that will work. But that is the process of pretty much hardening off your seedlings. You cannot just throw your kids out of diapers straight into high school. They have to go through the whole process. The same thing with seedlings. They have to go through the process of pre-K, kindergarten, so on and so forth before they can get to high school. So if you've never heard the term hardening off your seedlings, this is pretty much what it means. It's just getting them gradually climatized to the outside environment. Hopefully this helps.